you feel like a total failure, I mean, don't, because you don't have to do that. Sometimes people feel like it must be done this way, otherwise it's not done right. And that's not the case. This one is such a saucy, like, topic, but I'm just gonna say it. It's like, whew, let's calm ourselves, people, okay? So we are real, and I think it's important for people to see that. I felt like I wasn't like qualified enough, but I just wanted to make this video to let you know you don't have to do that. Hey beauty babes, welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, aka Agape Love Girl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today's video is going to be a chatty one. I hope it's not going to be too long, but it might be, so yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of have a lot of things to say, but I'm going to try not to say a lot about everything I have to say. So this is kind of an interesting topic. I don't do a ton of these kind of videos, but I kind of was like thinking about this. Sometimes I just like when I'm doing something like mundane, which at the time I was helping my husband clean our pool, and he was just having me like turn this pump thing off and on, like I was just kind of waiting on him, and I was turning it. So while I was like waiting, like my mind starts wandering and I start thinking things, and then I started thinking about like why we do certain things, and like my mind just was wandering, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is interesting stuff. Maybe interesting enough to share. So I went and grabbed my phone really quick and opened up my notepad and started writing in my phone in between turning the pump off and on for my husband. I also feel like as I was kind of reflecting on my notes and my thoughts today, I remembered a video I had recently watched from Georgia Harris. It's her video called How Being a YouTuber Changed My Makeup Collection. And I feel like maybe that video kind of sparked this idea as well, because some of these thoughts came about thinking about before I was a YouTuber and the way I thought about things before becoming a YouTuber. Not just my makeup collection, but just how I did things. So I feel like I should credit her a little bit, because as I was reflecting on these thoughts, her video popped in my mind. I was like, you know what? She probably helped me kind of come along across these thoughts. So anyways, what I want to talk about is, and I'm going to probably look down a lot just because I did write a lot of things down. I don't want to I feel like I wrote them well, and I know that if I start talking, I will rabbit trail as I always do, and I don't want to do that so that my video isn't longer than it needs to be. Let's just say that. So today what I wanted to talk about was things that we may have been conditioned to do or feel like we have to do because of the beauty community, or because a beauty YouTuber has done it, or just something has made us feel like this is the way, this is how it has to be done, we have to do this, and we feel like we might be shamed if we don't do this. We may feel like if we don't do these things, we might get shamed by the beauty community. You may or may not have been shamed by the beauty community if you're active on social media and stuff like that. I have been a couple times, and I've also witnessed it. But I just wanted to make this video to let you know you don't have to do that. The point is that regardless, you should do your makeup how you like, how you want, and how you feel the most confident. No matter what the beauty community says, and also regardless of what people outside of the beauty community say or think. I also want to preface this by saying a lot of these things are things that I actually do. And I also want to say that I don't think there's anything wrong with actually doing these things either. So whether you do them or you don't do them, they're like, this video is not to shame any side of it, because I do a lot of these things. But I just want to be a voice of someone who says, you know, you don't have to. This is not the standard. This is not the rule. This is not like it must go this way or else kind of a thing. And I just think maybe it's common knowledge that you don't have to, but it's probably just nice to hear a beauty influencer say, these are not musts. You don't have to do this. And I feel like this also kind of goes along with Georgia's video of how she because she kind of talked about in her video how she did things on her YouTube channel just because she was, you know, inspired by other people, and so she kind of felt like that's what she, well, I don't know if she said she felt like she had to do that, but maybe she did, but she also just felt like she said she wanted to do that because she just thought like that was the thing to do, or that's how she was inspired, and then later realized like, oh, she doesn't really want to do that, you know, kind of thing. I'm gonna link her video. I don't know if I said that, but anyways, it was an interesting video. I enjoyed watching it. But anyways, I don't think I finished my thought on that. I say that because I know that my mind has changed on a lot of things. Like, they used to be things I never would have done, things that I do now with my makeup application that I had never done before and never would have thought to do, and have seen people do and thought like, that's silly, why do I need to do that? And now I do them, because I think we almost get conditioned to think like, this is how it's done, so this is how we're gonna do it, you know. So anyways, I just thought that was interesting. I would just share. But the first one I'm going to mention will be kind of a long topic, because this is actually what spurred this idea on. So when I was sitting there turning the pump off and on for my husband and started thinking about ideas, this random memory popped into my mind, and this is kind of what continued on the thought process of this topic. So the first one is using a million transition shades. You don't have to do that. So a lot of times, and I do that, like literally this look I'm wearing today, I'm using 4 different browns for my crease basically. It's ridiculous. Anyways, we don't have to do that. Anyway, let me read. I'm gonna read so I don't get off topic. So we use one to set, one to transition, one for the crease, one for blending, and so on. And I wrote down, I remember seeing a pictorial on Pinterest once. If you don't know what a pictorial is, it's basically like a tutorial but in picture form, so they show all the steps in a picture. This was before I started my YouTube channel. I did have a blog though, and the gal in the pictorial used I'm so silly. She used like 7 shadows for one look, and I kid you not, 4 of them were for the crease alone, okay? I remember that I repinned the look because I thought it was beautiful and I would have wanted to recreate it. But in my caption, because you can kind of write captions for your pins, I don't really caption things anymore on Pinterest, I just repin without even changing a thing. But in my caption I wrote something like, beautiful look, probably don't need all these shadows to recreate it. And me writing that, it wasn't because I was trying to be shady, I didn't have a huge collection at the time. Like I barely had very many shadows in my like collection at the time. I wouldn't even call my makeup a collection at that time. So anyways, I figured I could attempt to recreate the look without all the shadows and without having to buy more makeup was the main thing. Also, in my opinion, with all the steps and the shadows placed, in the end, to my makeup noob self, I couldn't even see all the shadows she used. Like the end result, I saw maybe 3 shadows. I mean, that was all that I could see to my eyes. Like I looked and I'm like, you could do that with 3 shadows. What's she using 7 for, you know? The rest they seemed unnecessary to me. Anyways, so point being, I was reflecting back on this memory, and I remember I had actually gotten a comment on my pin from someone who said they were a makeup artist. So she wrote something like this: I'm a trained MUA, and actually those shadows are necessary for creating a more in-depth look. Something along those lines. So I remember reading that and kind of like rolling my eyes thinking like, okay, all right, sure, whatever. You know, just thinking like, I don't know, I thought it was ridiculous. So anyways, fast forward to me starting my YouTube channel and watching more makeup tutorials. Prior to starting my YouTube channel, I didn't really watch a lot of beauty YouTube. I don't even think I really watched a ton of YouTube. Prior to starting, I did beauty on my blog and makeup looks on my blog, and the reason I started my YouTube channel was because people wanted to see how I created the looks I created, so that's why I did it. And it wasn't because I was inspired by a certain person or a certain channel. I actually didn't get into beauty YouTubers until after I started my channel. So anyways, fast forward to starting my own YouTube channel and watching more makeup tutorials, I started to like get what that girl meant, and I started doing the same thing. Go figure. And while I agree that using more shadows and doing all the blending does create a gorgeous, very in-depth look, I mean, I get it, they do. And it does make a difference, I feel, in a small way. I mean, some people might think it's a huge way, but I feel, you know, in reality, it's just a small way. Most people don't even notice that little difference. Like I didn't. I'm reflecting back on, you know, my makeup noob self, and I didn't notice the difference. But anyways, just because there is a difference and what I did understand it and it does create depth, it doesn't mean that you have to do that. Of course, if you're in the makeup community or beauty community, if you're a beauty influencer, you might feel like you have to. If you take like super close-up eye shots, I do that all the time. So, you know, there are times when I do want all those shadows to show and all the depth and detail to show. And in that case, it matters, or you feel judged if you don't do that kind of a thing sometimes. But you know, you can create a beautiful look with some depth with 1 or 2 shadows, you know, depending on how you disperse the color and how heavy you pack it on or how light you pack it on, how much you blend it. You can create an in-depth look with 2 shadows. I fully believe that. So anyways, if you enjoy using a ton of shadows in your crease, using 5 shadows, 2 shadows, 10 shadows, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. If you feel like, you know, you love doing that, that's amazing, do that. Obviously, I do that, and so I'm not judging anybody, but I just want to say, like, if you feel overwhelmed by that, if you don't feel you have the ability to do that, if you just prefer to do your look with 2 shadows, 1 shadow, 3 shadows, do that. Like, whatever you love to do, whatever makes you happiest, do that. Don't feel like you have to do something just because another MUA or beauty guru says this is what's the best, this is what must be done, you know what I mean? So let's move on to the next one, shall we? So the next one I have on my list is winged liner. I have kind of dabbled a little bit into starting to do winged liner, but not often because I still feel like I suck at it. I feel like I'm getting better because I've been practicing more. But I have felt guilty of feeling like I have to do that. I used to think that like I wasn't a true like glamour, not, I don't know, I mean, I'm kind of glamorous, but not like I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't a good beauty YouTuber or beauty influencer. I wasn't like, I felt like I wasn't like qualified enough because I never did a wing liner, and I felt like that was like the standard, like if you were a beauty influencer, if you're this, then you must always do a wing liner. And then I kind of realized like, no, you don't have to do a wing liner to create beautiful looks. And I feel like, you know, for some reason, maybe it's just me, there's like this, not pressure, but like this sense of like a wing liner is a must to finish your look. And while I think wing liner is stunning, I really do love the look of it, you know, it's not a must for a look to be complete or a look to look beautiful. Obviously, I'm not doing a wing liner. Sometimes I do, a lot of times I don't, but you know, if anybody else has ever felt like I do, like you just can't master the wing liner and you feel like a total failure, I mean, don't, because you don't have to do that. Alright, I told you I'm going to try to keep these shorter. So the next one is smoking your shadows out really high. I put this one in there because I remember getting a comment, and normally I don't call out comments that are like negative or criticism because I don't find the point in doing that, so I'm not trying to call somebody out because I don't really care. It's just an opinion. But I remember getting a comment where someone was like, you really should have smoked that shadow up higher, because I don't remember how they worded it, but it worded it more like that's how it's supposed to be done, like for the look to look good. But that's, no, I mean, yeah, would it have looked pretty? Yes, absolutely. Would have been gorgeous smoked out, but that's not the look I was going for. And I feel like people think like that's where I go back to the shaming thing. Sometimes people feel like it must be done this way, otherwise it's not done right. And that's not the case. You know what? Smoking the shadows out really high, I personally feel like is a new trend. It might not be. It's probably something that has been around a lot longer, but I feel like it's only recently become super popular to really smoke shadows out really high in the last like 2 years or something. Because I remember even when I first started my YouTube channel like 3 years ago, tutorials, I never saw anybody smoking their shadow out that high, like up to your brow bone. I mean, I am today because this look is really dramatic. I did this look using the stamp crease. Videos on that are already up. But anyways, so I had to smoke my look out. But it's not like a rule that if in order for a look to look good, it has to be smoked out to your brows. Not everybody likes that look. Not everybody wants to wear shadows that high. A lot of people, that can be really intimidating, and for me it was really intimidating. So when I got that comment, I was really kind of like taken aback, like, oh my gosh, is this look not good then? Is this not good enough? But then I replied back nicely and I was like, you know what, I think that would have looked really pretty, but that wasn't the look I was going for, and I still think it looked just as pretty even though I didn't smoke them out, you know? So, you know, smoking your shadows out really high, you don't have to do that. Okay, the next one. I'm kind of nervous. This one is such a saucy, like, topic, but I'm just gonna say it. Filling in your brows. You don't have to do that. I feel like brows are such like they're a weapon. Like, people like are judging you for your brows. They're like, just, it's like one of those things, like if your brows aren't right, your life ain't right, you ain't right, like you're not worthy. Like, it's just like, whew, whew, whew. Let's calm ourselves, people, okay? They're just, I mean, like, while yes, brows frame the face, and some people have really amazing brows naturally, or even filled in, or perfect brows or whatnot, like, it's not that big of a deal that you have to like cut someone down because their brows are not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been there where my brows were like wretched, and I did not care. I didn't care so much about my brows until I actually started doing my YouTube and feeling like the pressure of like brows are so important, you know? But not everybody wants to fill in their brows. Like, I fill in my brows, like, I pretty much color them in. I'm pretty much, I don't even try to pretend like I'm filling in them naturally. And I don't care because I like the way it looks. A few years down the road, I might look back at photos of me and be like, oh my God, what was I doing with my brows? But in the moment right now, they make me happy like this. I like the way they look like this. Not everybody might like my brows like this, but I do. And it's my brows, it's my face. I'll wear it how I want. And I feel like you should do that too. Like, if you don't want to fill in your brows, don't. There's a lot of times where I'll do my makeup, and if I don't do my brows, I feel like I look weird. And I feel like I need to. It's a must. But it's not a must. And I don't think anybody should feel like it's a must. Another thing I want to just gently touch on a little bit is that I feel like some people like think like if you fill in your brows, you have to do that like light color transitioned into the dark color, faded in for that natural look. I don't get how that makes them more natural. Maybe I'm still like a newbie when it comes to makeup and brows and stuff. I don't get, like, if you look at someone's natural brows, like I look at my children's brows because they still have natural brows, I don't see that it looks more faded in the front and darker in the back. That doesn't scream natural. And I'm not trying to judge. I'm just saying we call that the natural look, but I don't get why. So I also just want to say, like, you don't have to do it that way either. Mine might look like that a little bit, and that's only because I've said this before, because back here is actual hair and up here is like skin, because my brows are a little bit bald in the front, so it looks a little bit more faded in the front, but that's not on purpose. It's just, that's how my brows do. But yeah, I don't think you need two different brow colors just to fill in your brows and make them look more natural. I mean, if you want to do that, do it. But don't feel like you have to. Don't feel like it's a rule that you must do that. You know, do your brows how you want. And like, if you love them, cool. Like, yay. Don't let anybody put you down for your brows. Okay? All right. All right. The next thing I have on the list is baking and using excessive powders. Now, again, like I said, I do many of these things, but just because I do them and many other beauty influencers do them does not mean you have to do that. A lot of people do not like baking. A lot of people, I would say I hear this more from like mature or older people. People with mature skin say they hate that. It makes their skin look more crepey or more whatever. It accentuates lines and things like that. So it's not for everybody. Just because you see someone do it, you know, doesn't mean you have to do it. I don't necessarily bake like where I leave it on for 10 minutes, but I do put on an excessive amount of powder. If you guys see my tutorials, you know I do this. I like to do that because I feel like it really sets in to my fine lines here, and really also helps brighten my under eyes that have terrible dark circles. And then also instead of wasting the excess and sweeping away, I just sweep that all over the rest of my face instead of putting powder all over the rest of my face. I just use that, blend it all in my face. But you don't have to. Not everybody likes to set their face with powder. Thing is about me is that I don't do full coverage foundations. A lot of you guys know that. A lot of my blemishes show through. I'm cool with that. I feel like I get a lot of my coverage from powder. So I actually prefer using powders more than, like, you know, foundation, stuff like that. Obviously I'm gonna use foundations and concealer, but I go heavy with powder because I feel like I get my coverage from my powder, and that's what I like. But not everybody does, and just because you see it doing that doesn't mean that's like how you have to set your face. You don't have to do that. Next on the list, speaking of full coverage foundation. Using full coverage foundation. I feel like this is like getting ranty, but I'm not meaning it to. It's just that, like, I feel like maybe this is a little bit ranty, and I'm not trying to, but I just want to say, like, I feel like I see so many people with literally flawless skin. Like, literally young. I'm 33 years old, okay? I know I'm still young. I know I'm not super old, I feel old compared to a lot of other beauty influencers, but anyways, I see a lot of beautiful young women, beauty influencers, and even like just regular people on reality with flawless skin, and then they cover it up with like the fullest coverage foundation. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you like full coverage and you want to go full ham glam, that's, I still think it looks stunning, you know, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just like I'm almost, maybe it's a jealousy thing, like why if I had that skin, like I would not cover it up. I mean, I didn't even fully cover up my own skin, and my skin's, it's not perfect. My biggest thing is my dark circles. They need to go away. But they won't. So, but you know, it's like, anyways, the point being for this one, so I don't go on a crazy rant, is that like, just because you see a lot of beauty influencers using the most full coverage foundation doesn't mean that you have to also. You know, not everybody likes full coverage foundations, but sometimes I feel like people feel like they have to because they see this perfectly stunning person with flawless skin using it, covering up their skin, and they think, okay, well that's what's just how it's done, that's what I must do. So I just, you know, thought I would say, you don't have to use full coverage foundation, and even if your skin is not flawless, even if you have blemishes showing through, that's okay. We are not, in reality, these flawless, airbrushed, filtered human beings. We are real, and I think it's important for people to see that, you know, and I don't want to like go on a tangent here, but I will just say, like, I do kind of wish like there was less of the photoshopping and there was less of the filters, and people could see more of the real, raw beauty. You know what I mean? Not to say that like flawless skin isn't beautiful or like full coverage isn't beautiful. I still think it is. Like, I think it's stunning. But I also think it would be good for people to be an example to show like it's okay to have imperfect skin. You're still beautiful. Okay? You're still beautiful. I think that's... I'm gonna get teary-eyed because this is like a subject that really gets me. Like, I don't have a fancy camera that filters my face. I don't wear full coverage foundation. My blemishes show through, and I'm just cool with that. Like, if I was insecure, I guess, I don't know. Anyways, I don't care that they show through. That's just real. I don't over like Photoshop my photos at all. Like, literally what I do with my photos when I edit them is adjust the saturation, adjust the color, just to make sure it looks actual true to color, and then add my watermark. That is all I do to edit my photos. So all my photos, what you see, that's real. And then sometimes with my up close lip shots, I will blur my skin just a little bit, but it's not to like, it's not because of zits or anything. It's because I'm like peach fuzzy, and I am insecure about that. And plus, I hate getting comments about that kind of thing. So I just blur that out. So forgive me. But I will say, you know, I let people know that. But anyways, I just want people to not feel like insecure because they see so many perfect people online and think it's reality when it really isn't. So don't feel like you have to wear full coverage just because everyone else does. Okay, the next one kind of goes hand in hand with that, and I did actually write quite a bit about this one, so I'm gonna probably just read it so I don't rabbit trail. But this is using a ton of concealer. Okay, again, and I'm just gonna read, but this kind of reflects what I just said. Some people have flawless bare faces and use full coverage foundation, and then on top of that, a ton of concealer when they don't need it. Now, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't do this. The end result is still gorgeous. I'm just saying that because we see it being done, we may think that we have to do it too. I remember when I first got Shape Tape, the Shape Tape concealer, which is my favorite. I tried to use it just like I'd seen every other beauty influencer do it, you know? And it was just so much. It was so much. When you're doing like all this and like thick, applying it thick, here, thick, and then applying, I mean, maybe other concealers are different, but with Shape Tape specifically, it is a thick concealer. I mean, it is full coverage, and like when you put that much on, it takes forever to blend out and blend off, and like really like it can get cakey if you're not careful. Anyways, it was always too much. And going back to my notes, even times I try to use just a little bit, it would still sometimes be too much. Like I couldn't be careful enough with that concealer. So I went on to dotting it on, and I did this in a tutorial once. I'll probably insert the clip here. Where I dotted it on and reminded everybody that you just need a little bit. You just need the tiniest bit of this concealer. My tube of Shape Tape is almost empty now, so I'm kind of back to using it what looks like quite a bit, like larger streaks, but that's just because it's thinned out now that there's like not much, because usually when you pull the wand out when it's full, it's like covered in concealer. Now there's like barely any concealer left on the wand. I have to like really kind of like scrape it out and put it on my skin. So it's thinned out, so I kind of put it on a lot more now since it's almost gone. So anyways, so if you see me looking like I put a lot on, that's why. It's just really thinned out. But anyways, let's move along with that one. You don't have to put on a lot of concealer. You really don't need that much. Just do a little bit. You don't need a lot. Okay, I promise you. You don't have to do that. Oh, next up on the list is false eyelashes. I love false eyelashes, but there was a time where I had no clue how to wear them, and I never wore them. I was obsessed with lashes. Like I love lashes. One of my favorite things is lashes, not just false lashes, but the like lashes. Sometimes there's something about like putting on mascara and you just feel so much prettier. Like even girls who like get like eyelash extensions, they always say, one of the things they say is they feel like they wake up beautiful. You know what I mean? Like lashes are a thing. They just make you feel beautiful. Anyways, I never used to do false lashes until I was reached out to by Esquito. They were like the first brand to reach out to me and send me products. And they sent me false eyelashes, and I was like excited because I was like, ooh, it's like my first PR. But I was also nervous. I'd never really worn lashes before. But that was like the doorway, the stepway. So I tried them and did a look with them once, but then didn't really use them again. And one thing I noticed is that in the look I shared with my false eyelashes, that got better interaction. Like thinking, speaking from an influencer point of view now, like that got better engagement than all my other looks without lashes. And I was talking to my sisters, and I remember saying, look at this, like I don't think this look was that great, but the only difference is that I'm wearing false lashes, and for some reason people seem to love looking at something with false eyelashes. So I started wearing them more often, and those looks would always do better than the looks I did without lashes. So I started feeling like I have to wear lashes. As a beauty influencer, I have to wear false lashes. That's just how it is. So that's what I started doing like all the time with all my looks. But then I started like, because I'm in several makeup groups, I started seeing very often this comment like from people saying, I hate that beauty YouTubers always wear false lashes. It's so unrealistic. Not everybody wears lashes, and I wish we could just see the look without lashes. And so I did take that to heart, because it's so true. Like I don't wear lashes every day. The only time I wear lashes is when I do a YouTube tutorial. And I love the way it looks. Like don't get me wrong, I think it's stunning. And I always feel so glamorous, but it's not a must, and it's not like you have to wear lashes, but you kind of do get the feeling like you do. You have to put on lashes. If you're doing a glamorous look, you have to put on false lashes. But you really don't. You don't have to do that. And I want people to know that you don't have to. Like, okay, this look, I did this look yesterday. And because I was just practicing it, I just wanted to see how it would turn out before I did a tutorial on it. And I didn't put lashes on. I'm going to put a photo up. They're crummy photos, just so you know, because they were from my cell phone. But I'm just wearing my normal lashes with mascara. I still think it looks good. So, you know, do the glamorous look. If you don't like lashes, don't wear them. It's totally cool. Don't feel like a look is only complete if you have wing liner and lashes. You know, we do tend to feel like that, but it's, you know, you really don't have to. If you don't like it, lashes, don't wear them. That doesn't make the look incomplete, and it doesn't make it any less pretty. Can it really enhance a look? Yeah. And does look that much more glamorous? Yeah, but it's not a must, and you don't have to. Also, like I said, I did take that comment to heart, seeing that a lot, so I have started doing a few tutorials here and there without lashes, because like I said, that is reality. I don't wear lashes every day, and not every look I do is going to be with lashes, and I want you guys to be able to see that. I want you guys to be able to see a look that I do that might be even a little bit more glamorous with just mascara, because that's what a lot of you guys will probably do. So it's okay not to wear lashes. Oh, also I will say, like, there are other YouTubers who don't do lashes. You know, I think one that's coming to my mind that I can remember is Kathleen Lights. I've seen her do several really glamorous, smoked out, even glittery looks with just her natural lashes, not wearing false lashes, and it still looks stunning. So, you know, don't feel like you have to wear lashes just because every other influencer does, like, or that's like the law of a glamorous look, you know what I mean? So again, you don't have to do that. All right, speaking of glitter, that is the next thing. And again, this is another thing I'm guilty of. I do it all the time. I don't know if this one really fits in with this, like, you don't have to do that thing, because I don't think a lot of people feel like they have to do glitter. But I just thought I would mention it because I feel like, not even I feel like, I know. Pretty much every look I do on here is a glitter look. It's a glam look. I've said this before, I think. I'm pretty sure I said this in another video, but a lot of the times I do tutorials, I do them because when I think of a makeup tutorial, or when I personally am looking up a tutorial, I'm not looking up how to do a basic look. I know how to do basic looks. I'm looking up glam looks. I'm looking up how to do something glamorous, like to learn something new that I didn't know how to do, or a technique that I didn't know how to do. So that's what I try to provide you, is like glamorous looks. Not because it's practical or everyday, but just because, like, if you need a tutorial for something, it's usually something harder than what you already know how to do. So that's why that's why I didn't really often provide simple looks. So I thought, like, no one wants to see a tutorial on a simple look. But the thing is, I've discovered that people do want to see tutorials on simple looks, and it's not even necessarily for the tutorial, it's more for just the inspiration. Like, they want to see, or you want to see, people want to see inspiration for just everyday average looks they could wear with a palette that they have. So say they're looking up a tutorial for, I don't know, a naked palette, I don't know, it's the first thing to pop in my head, whatever palette you have, and all you see is glamorous looks for it, that you are someone who you know, not going to wear glamorous looks every day, you're probably going to feel defeated, like, okay, the only way I could use this is if I do a glamorous look. It's kind of like, well, no, you know, there needs to be people who provide just everyday looks using palettes that you know, people buy. People want to see inspiration for that, and so I've kind of tried to provide that here and there. Not a ton, probably. If you guys want to see more of that, I definitely can start doing more of those more simpler, just everyday looks, if you want the inspiration for it. I just don't find them as inspiring, so I don't think to do them. But if that is more of a desire from at least my subscribers, my viewers, from you guys, I would definitely love to provide that. I can do that. So anyways, I guess that goes with it, glitter. Like, you don't have to do glitter, you don't have to do glam all the time. Don't feel like just because, you know, the beauty community is always glam all the time, that must be your life. And I know probably not, this video topic might seem over dramatic, like you probably don't all feel like you have to do this just because you see people do it, but like I said, even I felt kind of like that sometimes. So I wanted to be the voice that says, you don't have to do that. It's cool if you don't. You're still beautiful if you don't. You know, you're still good at makeup if you don't. You know what I mean? So just throwing that out there. Let me move on. Going down my notes. Alright, the last one I have on here is it's one with a funny story attached, at least I think so. And it kind of goes along with, like, makeup rules. So a lot of people like to say, and I fully believe this, that in makeup there are no rules. There's no rules to makeup, because people will say there are makeup rules, and there's some people who are like, there's no rules in makeup, you just do what you want. Makeup is art. And I fully agree with that. Makeup is an art. That's why they're called makeup artists, because it's like your face is the canvas, and you can be as creative as you want, and there really shouldn't be any rules on how we like to do makeup, or how, you know, makeup is worn. But I will say, in saying that sometimes, like, there are certain things that are, like, I wouldn't call them makeup rules, but, like, you just do things a certain way because that's just the best way for them to be done. Like, say, for example, and it might seem ridiculous, but I'm just going to give it because sometimes this is how ridiculous it can be. Like, you wouldn't put on your foundation and then put a primer on over it. It's not that that's a makeup rule. I mean, I guess you could, but it'd be, like, pointless. Like, it wouldn't really make sense. So sometimes there are those type of rules, if that makes sense. So that kind of goes along with my story. I just want to preface it a little bit. But anyways, I wanted to kind of bring that up just because I had a funny story to tell about it. Well, it's not really funny, and it might sound mean, but I'm just going to say it anyways, just because it kind of goes with the whole makeup rules and not makeup rules and things like that. But I remember one time watching a Jaclyn Hill video where she was testing out these brand new color correctors from Urban Decay. And she actually, I feel like she ended up getting a lot of like hate in the comments, which is just kind of messed up. It's rude. Like, you don't have to be rude about it just because someone's like wrong or does something wrong. You know, like you don't have to be mean. Like, just be nice. Like, you can like correct someone gently or like give someone advice gently, like lovingly, like, you know what I mean? So anyways, but she had put on her foundation first and then went in with the correctors, which it goes to what I prefaced this story with, is like there's no makeup rules, but sometimes there's some ways to apply things correctly. And I remember watching that and thinking to myself, like even I know that you put on correctors before foundation. Like, it didn't make sense to me, and I kind of thought that, and that's when I like looked at the comments and people were like tearing her to shreds. And then she went off and was like, you know, there's no rules in makeup, you could do whatever you want and blah blah blah. But the thing is, the reason why that didn't quite make sense is because like when she was doing it, even herself, like in the video, was getting frustrated. She's like, this is not blending out, the green is still showing, like what, you know, like she's like, I don't like these are not like working. But it's like she did kind of do it wrong. Like, you gotta put them before, you know, it's correcting before you put on foundation. I don't know, and I just remember thinking like, I'm not even like a makeup artist, and I knew that, you know, and I'm not trying to judge her, so I'm not trying to be shady. I'm just saying, like, I just found that to be an interesting story that came to mind. Is not to be hateful or mean or be like, I know more than Jaclyn Hill, because I certainly don't. But and I'm not perfect, I'm not a makeup artist, but I just thought that was an interesting story to share, that even though there are no makeup rules, there are some things that are just, I will just say, better done correctly. I don't know what you want to say. Sorry. I don't know if I'm gonna include this because now I feel bad. That's it. I'm gonna wrap up this video. That's the last thing I have on my list. I talked a lot. I have some notes for my ending here that I'm just gonna read. So I just wanted to end this by saying that there's nothing wrong with doing any of these things. I just want to make that clear. I want to make that perfectly clear. There's nothing wrong, because clearly you guys know already. I've said this several times. I do a lot of these things. So there's nothing wrong with doing them. If you enjoy doing them, keep it up. But I just thought it'd be nice to hear someone say that you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Just because it's how everyone else does it. Or think that that's just the way it's done, you know? Definitely don't be afraid to be different. Do what's right for you. Figure out what's right for you. So just, yeah. Alright, and that wraps it up for this video. If you like this video and this topic and me being a little bit more chatty, even though it was a little bit more spazzy, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. Have you ever felt like you had to do something, or were shamed by the beauty community, or someone who was like better at makeup than you and made you feel like you weren't good enough because you didn't do a certain thing? You know, share your stories. Let's make this a little bit of a discussion. Be sure to like, let's keep this nice. Like, even though I kind of said a few things here in the video, I try to keep it lighthearted. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody or call anybody out. I want to keep this a positive place. The whole point of this video was to be positive and to be more encouraging. So I want that to continue in the comments. Not that I ever have any kind of drama or arguing in my comments, but I don't know if I've never done a video with this kind of topic before, so I just wanted to make that disclaimer just in case. Also, if you have any other like makeup rules that you feel like you have to do that maybe I forgot about or that I didn't mention, be sure to, you know, feel free to leave those in a comment too, so we can all, you know we don't have to do that. So with all that being said, I just want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes.